Charles Burrell, for generations, was a school. It opened in 1963. I went to school here. My parents went to school here in the 70s, so it's actually sort of ingrained in the life of the people of Thetford, and they wanted Charles Burrell to be a success. It was their school.
It draws people in far and wide because there's such a diverse amount of things happening under the roof here at CBC, from the college to the charitably based organisations like Grow Kids and Dove's Nest Ministries. Everything from tattoo artists to accountants, soft play areas, toy libraries. It's immense what we offer here, really.
Being part of the Charles Burrell Hub is just amazing because there are so many other facilities in here.
No matter what you're doing, there's always someone there with you, even though this is me and my business. But I also feel it's the CBC's business too.
So it started way back in 2009 when the Norfolk County Council, Local Education Authority, decided that actually Charles Burrell High School, as it was then, was surplus to requirement. And as a local councillor and a local resident at the time, it sort of quickly dawned upon me and lots of other people that Charles Burrell was a school, but it was also so much more than that. So there was a whole variety of after-school clubs, there was sort of breakfast club provision in the morning, all sorts of sort of other services at the weekend, which were really important to the community. A group of us, local councillors, local residents, community groups, we sat around a table and said, well, if we could, what would Charles Burrell become? We wouldn't be here if it weren't for the residents within Thetford who really made the noise to get the campaign going to save the school, and also their support ongoing. And we opened May 2014 with 5 tenants. We had one 20-hour-a-week member of staff, and I sat on the front desk every Friday, and it grew from there. We wanted to save the building, we wanted to save the school, we didn't want it to be an eyesore. And we've quickly realised that actually we can have a really positive impact on the lives of people in Thetford.
Thetford, and this part of Thetford in particular, if you look at any indexes, will show you that it is an area of deprivation. That doesn't mean to say it's an area where people aren't willing to work or to change. Indeed, the numbers of unemployment in this part of Thetford is high, but most of them are going to be low-paid jobs.
If you add to that the rural deprivation element, you are already experiencing limited opportunities. Employment is tricky and it's often a very low-wage economy, so your opportunities to improve your own life are restricted. Through Charles Burrell, we've actually given people a lot more options and choice. Training and learning opportunities has been a key part of what we do. Getting the college to be based here, getting various education providers, adult education and others, to use Charles Burrell as their base has meant that hundreds, if not thousands of people have been able to gain qualifications that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to, so actually improving people's life chances and their opportunities for work.
I'm passionate around allowing people to access good, nutritional value food at a reasonable price. So it is quantity, quality, and it is about the dignity.
It's East Anglia's first citizen supermarket. It was an idea that we jumped on straight away. We could see the benefits to our local community. It's a corner shop that just happens to have really, really great prices so that we can make it as approachable as we possibly can to any member of our local community here in Thetford. And for us, it doesn't matter whether you're working, whether you're on benefits, what those benefits are. If you are in need of cheaper shopping, then it's our pleasure to be able to welcome you. They're typically saving between 30% and 60% on every item that they buy. We're also able to offer free of charge items as well. We've had people coming in through the summer who've got allotments here, and when they've had a glut of runner beans or tomatoes, all sorts of fresh fruit and veg, they've brought them into us, and it's been our pleasure to be able to gift those sorts of items to our core membership.
I've seen lots of people come in with very sad faces and very anxious and leave with big smiles on their faces because they've actually got food for their family for the week. Some of them have had no money, so we've given crisis packs. And sometimes we've been able to signpost them to other services as well, both within Charles Burrell and outside. I also run a cooking club for young people. It's lovely to have the shop where the young people from the estate can go in and actually help their parents choose food for making their tea.
If we want people to eat more healthily, if we believe that it's more than food poverty, it's nutritional poverty, we've got to be able to provide a platform for people to learn how to cook, because many households have become reliant on microwaves. They have not necessarily had the skills passed down. Food technology is not always taught at schools. We've created a training kitchen which will allow people to have fun with food, explore foods that they probably haven't had before. The community cafe is more than just providing the normal cafe. We'll use the blue token, which means that I can pay for somebody else's coffee, put it in the jar, somebody can pull that token out and get a free coffee. So if they just want to come and sit in a warm and safe and secure area, that's absolutely great. Every day there's an activity. Some will be intergenerational, some will be for the older generation, some will be for the social isolated. It may be as simple as bingo, it may be as simple as just having a conversation.
We don't know the answer to everything ourselves, so it's great for us to be able to work in partnership with lots of other community groups, not only throughout Thetford, but also people that are based here in CBC as well. We get on really well with our tenants here, and they all feel like part of the big CBC family.
I always like it when they buy and sell from one another on site. We used to have a signage company based here, and they do printing. So all the tenants on site went and bought their business cards from them, and then they have new signs made up. Or where there's childcare providers on site, often people would work at one end of the building and be able to send their children to the other end of the building.
We've given out nearly 250 bags over the last 8 months to various people. Clothing, if you're struggling, is the hardest thing to fit in. If you're having to think about whether or not you get gas, electric, food or clothing for your children, then often clothing is the thing that goes.
We wanted to base ourselves here because I used it a lot when my children were little. Coming in here to use things like the toy library. So we knew it was an amazing place, an amazing community centre with lots of footfall. We do a lot of partnership with people like the food bank. We have similar clientele who are coming needing some emergency help, and we also work with other groups like the knitting box. So we have these amazing little toys that are knitted by lovely ladies and gentlemen in the community. One of the things we've realised is a lot of barriers to people coming and getting help. Mental health problems, lack of confidence, things like that. So anything we can do to make it easier for clients to reach us is good. So for me, the most exciting thing about being at CBC is being accessible and a comfortable environment for people to come into, and being able to then say to people, do you know, well, if you head up there, you can go to the community supermarket and you can get a bag of shopping for a fraction of the price. Or do you know what, if it's your kid's birthday party, why don't you go to the toy library? And it's giving people access to a way of life that actually, in some cases, they are despairing that they'll never have.
I think the most exciting thing about being part of Grey Kids is the potential and how far this could go and how many people we can help.
Razem, this is Polish word, it's together. 9 years ago, I had just 5 children and was more every year, and now we have I think big Polish community. Work with children, but sometimes we work as well with parents. Yeah, we explain lots things about English education here, and we have for example library for adults as well.
In preparation to Brexit, we acted as a hub for helping out with settled status and getting our community to be engaged and like really settled into living in the UK. power of community for us means the sense of belonging. We've grown into being something that we want to propagate as an example, leading by example, to next generations.
The business element has become more important than perhaps we first realised. Some of these are sole traders are starting their business life. It's an opportunity with an entrepreneurial spirit for us to incubate them. It's a light touch where people need support, whether that is in walking through a lease to understand what the lease is, whether that's in payment plans, whether that's in business support, whether that's just encouragement, whether that's allowing them to expand, then those businesses can flourish.
I started to set up a hair academy, told the CBC about my dream, and they were more than willing to help me and guide me along the way. West Suffolk College, I did a business course through them, so if they weren't in here then I don't think I would have known about it. The CBC themselves actually helped me with finding the best things to do with my finances. The CBC always are open to the community, are always helping the community, and that's kind of really what I want to do in a hairdressing sort of way. I want to help teenagers that can't afford to get to college. I want them to feel individual and taught individually.
So in terms of the economy, of course it's bringing income in, it's providing employment, and it's getting people to actually access this part of Thetford which previously perhaps had been ignored.
The biggest obstacle was the fear of the unknown. We were doing something that was very different. We had no idea how it was going to work out, and I think that's where locality and others was so useful for us, because we were able to look at opportunities elsewhere where it had worked. So I remember quite vividly going up to Bradford and looking at Shine and Leeds and other similar organisations that had done really good work and say, actually, we could do this in Thetford, why not? We were obviously really pleased in 2019 to win the Locality Award. The award for us was the turning point where actually people were saying, what are they doing in Thetford? Let's go and have a look at what they're doing and maybe we can replicate that elsewhere.
The success of the CBC has meant that we need to think to the future, and it has become so successful and important to so many people. It's in the DNA of the local community. If we didn't have it, we would have to have it in some other form. It's not a bolt-on extra, it's not something that's here just for COVID, it's something that is part of the future strategy of how we live our lives. A Charles Burrell ideal is the future.